Hey, so some of you may know that I have business, like an S corp. I feel like I've brought it up a time or two here and there or whatever, but yeah, so that means that I have to file business taxes every year. It's not just my personal taxes. I've got to do taxes for my company as well. And it's really complicated. It's way over my head. So I haven't actually done my own taxes in like a very long time. I always have an accountant that does it for me. Well, anyway, long story short, this year I started working with a new accountant. My old accountant retired. And so they were like collecting information from me. This all happened last week, but they needed the date of incorporation of my company. And I had no idea. I've had it since like I got out of college basically. And so I had to go and find it. And when I did, I realized to my own shock that literally this month, April 12th, so the 12th of this month, is 20 years since I incorporated that business. Which is insane on so many levels, just that it's been that long and everything. But what's interesting is that this year, is the first time in the entire time that I've had this company. I'm using this because it hasn't really been a company. It's just been like a business entity that I've used. That's the first time that it's actually felt like a company with actual revenue and with actual, customers and clients and vendors and contractors and employees. And like, it's this whole thing now. It's the first time that I've ever felt like I was actually running a business. But no, I set it up in 1999. April 12th, 1999 is when I incorporated. And the whole reason I did it was because I had just graduated college, and my whole thing was I wanted to be a filmmaker. You've heard me say that a million times. Well, in order to be a filmmaker, in order to raise money for films, in order to get people to invest in your films, I was told anyway, that you have to have some kind of business entity. It could be an LLC or an S corp, which is what I have. So on that advice, I saved up some money. I hired a lawyer, and he, wrote up articles of incorporation. And the whole purpose of it was so that if I needed to accept investor money, I could do so for a film. Because you never know. You never know when you might bump into somebody who has a rich uncle and they want to, make this stupid movie, whatever. So I did that. And in the beginning, if you can hear the noise, my dog is drinking over here, because why not? I'm recording something. The YouTube star, she has her own video today in case you haven't seen it. But anyway, when I first incorporated, the name of the company was, wait for it. Oh, there she goes. She's photo bombing. She's video bombing. All right, so you're gonna get to look at Zoe for the rest of this video. Anyway, the name of the company when I first set it up was Morningwood Productions. And the logo was a tree with the sun rising behind it. Because I just thought that was funny because I was like 25 years old, 24, I guess I was 24 years old. But that was the whole joke. Morningwood Productions with a tree rising behind it. I just always thought that'd be really funny. Morningwood, like Vinewood or Birchwood or Cedarwood or something like that. Morningwood. And in fact, if you go and look at the trailer for the movie, which is the very first video on my main channel, this is the trailer for my movie Oceanfront Property. The little logo at the beginning of it is actually, it's Night and Day Films. So stepping back a little bit, so I named it Morningwood Productions, and it was actually sort of a co-thing with a buddy of mine who he wanted to be a producer. Now he is a producer. He's done really well for himself, but he eventually kind of split off. But the Morningwood thing, it was just funny, and we had business cards and everything, and I felt like it was somewhat successful because I would hand them the card and they would look at it and kind of do one of those things like, is that really what I think it says? So I thought, it'll stick in your head. Come on, it's not just funny, it's a business, and it'll stick in your head. But the other guy was a little bit uncomfortable, and he kind of got tired of having to explain the name to everybody. So we wound up changing it to Night and Day Films because it still worked, because there's like a tree with, it could be the moon rising behind it or the sun, whatever. So the logo could stay the same, and we used to kind of joke. I was like, okay, but only if I get to be night. You got to be day. I get to be night, because I am a night owl, so that makes sense. But anyway, eventually he kind of went on and did his own thing, and he's done really well for himself, and that's great. But I kind of stuck with Night and Day Films from that point forward, because it was what it was. And I kind of knew that eventually I would need to change the name, or at least like the DBA, the doing business as name, because there is another company called Night and Day Pictures, and they actually have gotten some movies made and done okay, and so I just knew that there would be an issue there. Eventually I'll probably have to change it. But over time, still wanting to do the film thing, and I was actually doing screenwriting and whatnot. Basically it was like I had my day job, and anything that I was making outside of my day job, I basically funneled it through this S Corp, and it's got its own bank account and all that kind of stuff. And I did that for tax purposes. All this was stuff that people just told me to do over the years, and I was like, okay, so I did it. But eventually, Kinker Boy became a thing. I did this thing called the Daily Epic. I was exploring all these different little just entrepreneurial things over the years. And then the YouTube thing started to happen, and I realized that Night and Day Films kind of limited the name. The name kind of limited what I was wanting to do, because it wasn't all films anymore. It was like all these other things as well. So I decided to change the name. I don't know when this was. It's been a while, probably 7 or 8 years ago. I changed it to Scott Creative Endeavors. So that's actually the name of my company at this point, Scott Creative Endeavors, and or SCE. And for a while, I was even tagging the end of my videos with that, because I kind of wanted to build a brand around it. And eventually, I was like, nobody cares. It doesn't matter on YouTube. But anyway, I just kind of used it all those years as just sort of a way to funnel the money into me. It sounds like money laundering or something, but it's not. It's just like for tax reasons, I would pay myself through my company instead of just paying directly to me. And it was always just kind of small fries, really, until like last year or the year before that, maybe. It was never really a serious amount of money. It was like sometimes money would kind of come in because I did a job. When I was doing screenwriting gigs, I would do it through that company. When I was starting, little side gigs here and there, when I did copywriting work for people, when I did video work for people, I just kind of did it through that company. And by the way, I have to say, I do very much recommend somebody do this. If you have any interest in doing your own thing and being entrepreneurial or in any way, or if you even want to just do side gigs and stuff like that, have some kind of business entity set up, whether it's an S Corp or an LLC or whatever. Because you do get tax breaks and there's that kind of thing, but also I think it just sort of frames your mindset. Because I actually do kind of factor that into whatever success I might have had doing what I'm doing, because I think that like just having a business entity makes you feel like you have to sort of justify that by doing outside things and pursuing other interests and trying to make it worth having that business entity. So I very much recommend it to people, for no other reason than that. It just kind of like frames your thinking in that way of, like what I just said. Anyway, I don't want to repeat myself. But it's crazy to me to think that like I've kind of had this business all this time, 20 years now, and only in the 18th or 19th year of that business has it been an actual business. And for the first time in my entire life, and this only just happened a few months ago, I finally got myself set up like through QuickBooks, where I pay myself through QuickBooks, and I like pay myself a salary that I take taxes out of it and that whole thing, and it's like it's an actual business for the first time. Today's the first of the month, and every month on the first I pay like 4 people for the work that they've done for me. And I do it through this business account, through my business. And it's just interesting. It's just something I was thinking about, and I thought I would share it with you guys. That I really do credit having that business for the framing that my mind has. Now the dog is drinking, the big dog, so it's gonna be much louder. Let's just revel in it for a second. And he's done. Okay. But just that recognition, that acknowledgement that I've been doing this for 20 years and it's just now kind of become a thing. I mean, if you want to take that for some kind of inspirational kind of thing, like don't quit, keep doing, then have at it. That's not really the point I'm trying to make here. I'm not really making a point. I'm just kind of sharing, I guess. Anyway, interesting thing I came across. Just thought I would share it in case anybody was ever wondering about starting a business or how the whole thing works. Again, when I first set it up, I didn't have any income. I didn't have any revenue stream or anything like that. It was literally just a just in case kind of thing, just in case I need it. And it's worked out for me. So anyway, there you go. Like I said, I'm not sure what the whole point of all that was, but I just thought I would share it. But anyway, hope you're doing well. The start of a new week. And yeah, wow. Brain.exe stopped working. Okay, I'll let you guys go. Thanks for checking in, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.